I need to ask him that. But getting GP was big for us. But again, it speaks to competition. We're trying to create competition at every level. What makes Dak Prescott better? Joe Milton. What makes CeeDee Lamb better? George Pickens. What makes Jaden Blue better? Having Javonte Williams. And so I think as you look at what we're doing, Jerry and Steven and Will have done an incredible job of creating that competition across the board at multiple spots. And that's what you're going to see today. You know, you'll see guys that are taking first-team reps. Are they the starters? No. They're just taking first-team reps today. Do we change it up? Of course we do, you know, because we're all about creating competition. And so I think, I see a unit that's got a ton of playmakers and pieces, but we're going to go based on how our offensive line goes. And they're going to play really, really physical. They're going to be tone setters, if you will, and that's very exciting.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation? It's your boy DMV back with another one. So, throughout this, I took some excerpts about him creating competition and what he talked about with the running back position, because you guys know my biggest thing on this channel is getting the run game going again, because I think that the run game is what makes this team go. And so I thought that this excerpt was very important because he talked about getting up front going. So I can appreciate that, creating a competition there. And that's why we brought in Tyler Booker. So it's all about marrying your pick and our idea and our philosophies moving forward to what we want to be able to do. And so I thought that it was important, him talking about creating that competition, talking about the guys up front. But he kind of lost me a little bit with some of the competition, right? He talked about what drives Dak is Joe Milton. Agree with that. Young guy coming in here with a chip on the shoulder, similar to Dak. So, I could see where that keeps Dak going, because Joe Milton has talent, but also Dak was in a similar situation that Joe Milton is. So I could see how that could drive Dak. With CD, I could see where Pickens, if I'm not on my A game, he going to take all the targets. So I could see that because they're kind of on a level playing field or whatnot, right? But what's going to drive Jaden Blue is Javonte Williams. That's where, some of the stuff that he's talking about with running back, I don't even know that they believe it, but we're going to allow him to say what he said about running backs, and then we're going to come back on that too. So here we go.
Cowboys.com. Brian, what are you looking for from these running backs? Are you leaning more maybe towards by committee to start, or what have you seen in the early goings from even some of the rookie guys too, like Jaden and Phil?
Yeah, it's too early to tell. I think last year we went into it thinking, it was going to be by committee, and then at the end of the year we changed that. I think it's really early. We want these guys to compete. The thing we know about Javonte and Miles, right? They've been there, they've done that. They've both had very successful seasons. They have a little bit of a head start because they've been here since the start of phase one, so they're a little bit ahead of Phil and Jaden. But when you look at what you see from Jaden and you see from Phil, you see that it's going to be a really fun offseason, a fun training camp. But again, I think I've said this in here before, you're not going to find out much about running backs watching them compete in shorts. It just, it's not how the game is played. So we won't really know. I think the numbers were 68 days away from our first training camp padded practice. And so, it's one that you have optimism, but you also don't get too far ahead of yourselves when you're talking about the running back position. And again, I'm not talking about Hunter Lepke. Here's a guy that, he's playing some one back for us. He's playing some fullback. He's playing some tight end. And all he does is do everything well.
So what I was waiting on the whole time, I was waiting on this right here. And I like the answer. You can't determine what you got with just shorts on. You got to be able to understand with padded practices and stuff like that. The things that you can judge right now, though, is who's grasping the offense, who's taking accountability, and all of those type of things, right? Running back, he's absolutely right. You cannot judge a running back by shorts. You got to see, if we're going to talk about all of this physicality, we're going to be this very physical football team. We have to be able to see that in that element. With that being said, though, I'm going to hold Shotty's feet to the fire, right? And what I mean by that is we say right now, like it is what May is it May 19th, May 20th, something like that. We say right now that we're gonna judge these guys based off of what they can do outside of shorts, but with padded practices. So let's make sure that we practice. Let's make sure that we ain't holding guys out, that we get a honest evaluation of these guys with with quality reps. Let's make sure we do that before we do anything rash, because the mistake that they made last year where they thought it was by committee and he talked about it, and then they went on to, throughout the year, you're always evaluating your team and you realize that Rico was better, in getting a rhythm. But with that, you missed the whole training camp of Zeke getting reps and Zeke getting familiar, or you even knowing maybe then that Rico should be getting those carries. We missed that because Zeke didn't get no quality reps in the preseason. I'm saying we're talking all this competition crap right now. Can we get a proper preseason? Where our guys get game reps too. That we're not just sitting veterans out, but we're getting game reps. Like even if it's just one possession, and I understand, right? Everybody's scared because of what happened to Tony. Everybody's scared. But I sit and I watch Kansas City every year make a deep playoff run. You want to know why they make a deep playoff run? Make a deep playoff run because they get these reps and they do it every year. So if you're scared by a dog, bro, if you're scared by a dog, and for me, I'm excited about some of the things that I heard, and I just want to see what he says and if we can carry that out. Oh yeah, I forgot. We got us a Nick Chubb update. You know how y'all like them workout videos in the off season of people and stuff like that. So I thought for the Chubb nubs and for the Chubb haters that that I will put this video in here at the end. To watch Nick Chubb work out. Hey, y'all know me, bro. It's still hashtag Nick Chubb to Dallas, and the start of this really is to create the competition in that room too, to keep people from being complacent, to keep the Cowboys from being complacent about the running back room, because it looks a lot like last year, in my opinion. Although we're not bringing in a veteran that has been here like Zeke, it does look like we're not doing as good as we could be in the running back room, in my opinion. Now that's just my opinion, and they can prove me wrong, and I hope that this team does. But I think that we could do better with Nick Chubb on the market and with June 1st coming up and people going to make cuts and stuff like that. Hey, if we're going to be preaching competition, we also have to be looking outside, and maybe some of these outside veterans are better than the veterans you got in this building. So I know you can't see much through tape and stuff like that. I mean, you can't see much through shorts, but you can see through game tape, and you know when somebody's better than somebody with game tape. So just keep that in the back of your minds as well, guys. Let me know your thoughts, man. How do you feel about Shotty's comments about the running back room? How do you feel about the linemen and trying to build through the offensive line? And where's your stance on Nick Chubb? Good, bad, or indifferent? All right, y'all. We out. Peace.
Turn the pressure up. I don't quit. I don't fold under pressure. I'm the best, and I know I'm the best. And you know I'm the best.